What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Friends Podcast, man. Thank you for joining us here again today. Or if it's your first time, man, definitely appreciate you coming through and checking out what we got to say today. So, yeah, man, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Matt, and I'm here with my co-host.
My name is Rod. Appreciate the new listeners as well as listeners who've been around for the first few episodes. Really appreciate you and subscribe, everyone.
Yeah, man, subscribe, like, comment, all that. Share it with a friend that likes music and different kind of stuff like that. Because that's pretty much,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what we talk about a lot on this podcast, among other things. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So, what was going on with your week this week?
This week was pretty much regular work week. The regular grind and the BS and dealing with things and trying to de-escalate fires. Really, that's what I be doing. So, yeah, that's how my week went. How about you?
Yeah, man, I feel that. Pretty much the same thing at work. Work wise, just kind of, I'm like one of the experts at what I do. So everybody always coming up to me asking me questions like, how do I do this? Where do I find that? So a lot of that this week, and of course, went out on Thursday. Went and got drunk. Had to get the week off of me. So when it chilled and chill with some homies and stuff like that. But today, definitely ready to get into this pod. So let's get into these first topics, man. So what we got going on?
So this week, I'm not gonna say this week, but this episode in particular, we're not gonna do too much of music, and we're gonna have like a regular discussion, like what we do, what we want to do when we have friends and everything going. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about topics that's going on in the world, and we're gonna start off with is like in America, some of the crazy stories we heard this week. So the first one is a very popular podcaster. You may know him from UFC commentary. He just recently started doing comedy. He tried to portray himself as, I think he wanted to say like he's similar to Richard Pryor
Oh
in one
hell
of his
no.
comments because what do you think he can do or what he can say, and it just seems like people are just being acceptable. But I'm talking about Joe Rogan, if you don't know, and he recently had his nigga collage. That YouTube video of him saying nigga like repeatedly over the years.
Yeah.
So I just want to get your opinion. What you think about it?
I mean, first of all, that nigga ain't nothing like no he ain't nothing like no Richard Pryor. Now I can't even talk, but he ain't like Richard Pryor though. That's wild. But I feel like he been doing comedy for like for a couple of years now. So I don't think he's new to it, but at the same time,
That's
like,
new to me.
I
Like
mean,
if you just
yeah,
been doing it for a year or two, that you're pretty new in the space, and to try to compare yourself to a legend like that and a black legend, I feel like already kind of like his mind state is kind of skewed.
like yeah, cause like how you gonna say Richard Pryor when like he know that people hold Richard Pryor up to like the highest standard when it come to comedy. Like a lot of comics right now is pattern right after Richard Pryor. So how he gonna be like, he just started and talking about some, yeah, that's me. Like that's crazy to me. But
Yeah, if Richard Pryor can talk like this and say things like that, why can't I?
basically that's why he been saying nigga so much. But it was a point in Richard Pryor career when he gave up the word, same with Paul Mooney. Like they stopped saying nigga or they like really limited themselves when they said it.
And there is a difference. Let's be clear. They are black men. Joe Rogan is not.
So that's how you feel? You feel like people that's not black can't say it at all?
Absolutely.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the reason is like pretty much itself. Like you aren't that, and the background from the word is very derogatory. So when white people always said it, it was a derogatory term. So now that it's years later and black people kind of switch the meaning of the word and we use it amongst each other, don't try to incorporate yourself now.
I mean, no, I feel that. I totally agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but like, so when you say like, yeah, like we retook the word and we just made it some other shit. Did we though? Like, I feel like we kind of use it in the same. Because I feel like a lot of older generation they still use nigga like in the derogatory term. Like when they talk about, look at this nigga over here. They still use it like that, but I feel like our generation, we started saying like nigga is like homie, nigga is like dude. Like it's like the black people dude.
I feel like it's one of those terms that's very broad, and depending on like people know how you say it, it's like that's what the meaning they get from it.
Now, how about this then? Does it matter in what context? Because I feel like a lot of people online was like, "Oh, but he was just quoting somebody. He was just saying what somebody else said." Like, how you feel about that?
I mean, I saw one of the videos where he said he walked in somewhere and it was like Planet of the Apes. He didn't see a white person in sight.
Yeah,
So when you say comments like that,
that's different.
and then it's a collage and everything with the N word and stuff like that, I see where you stand.
Like that's crazy that nigga got a whole collage. Like that's wild to me.
Exactly.
Like that's your greatest hits, bro. Like that's
I'm
wild
not
to
I'm
me.
not saying like he's a racist because I don't necessarily think he is, because I don't want to be that guy because he has black friends and a lot of comedians and stuff like that.
Nah, fuck that.
But I mean, I know the guys and stuff probably he's friends with. I would assume they probably don't hang out often, and it's probably more of like a work kind of relationship. Or
Hmm.
I doubt it's like if he felt like when he walked in somewhere, he says like Planet of the Apes. He's not walking into majority black spaces, and he doesn't feel comfortable there.
Like I never felt that. Like I done been in so many black places and spaces in my life, and I never was like, damn, this shit feel like Planet of the Apes. Like that shit was just,
And you shouldn't, because you're black.
yeah. I mean,
So I mean, I walked
yeah,
in like I walked in white spaces and stuff. Like I went to suburban school and everything like that. And I don't know. I never like had any comment like, "Man, there's a lot of mayonnaise in here."
right.
Like that's not like, or like, "Man, like it's just super white." Like I never felt that way or said comments like that, like in a public space or over the microphone. And that's another thing. It's like Joe Rogan is a seasoned veteran when it comes to talking and commentary and things of that nature. So he should know the right things to say and what things are just not cool to say. So I feel like that's another point.
I mean, according to him, he kind of, pulled back on it. He don't really say it like that no more. Like that's what he said. But
It's already a collage.
yeah, I feel like yes, we seen that, and then like he want to apologize, but then be like, damn, I feel bad now.
Yeah, because he did say it, like he watched it back and he was like, man, this just looks very, he was very cringeworthy. And like, this was nasty.
I don't care about that shit because you was a grown ass man when you said it. So stand on that shit. Like I'm tired of this shit. Like I'm tired of people not standing on shit they say as a grown. If I say something at 28 years old, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable for the shit I say because I'm a grown man and I can. In the shit I say, I should think about the words coming out my mouth.
Okay, so let's play on that. So if people holding you accountable, what does that mean?
That means
Like, what do you want them to do? Like, he already said sorry. So what else? Do you just cancel him, not listen to him anymore, or like what is that? What does
nah.
holding accountable mean?
It means okay if that's your people, like so Joe Rogan is, he does a podcast and stuff like that. So a lot of the people that's mad at him, they can't really get to him and talk to him, and be like, yo, like the shit you was doing, like you was wilding with that shit. But if I'm around him, I feel like holding people accountable is like if I'm around you and I know this shit going on, like I gotta say something. Like if that was my white friend and he was saying that shit would never that shit. One, I wouldn't have white friends that would even think that shit is cool to say. That's number one. But two, if I did, I'm I'm I'm,
So
t- I'm
so
saying,
from
yo,
now
like,
don't be around going crazy.
I mean, we ain't got to say names and shit, but like, I don't.
Okay,
No, I really don't care though. But like, he ain't never said that shit.
I think that's a nickname, right? Is that his real
That's his
name?
real name.
Oh,
Yeah,
mm.
that's his real name.
Maybe we can edit that out. But anyways, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't want to. I don't
So
want to talk about that character. But nah, man. Like, I feel like that's what holding people accountable is like if you're around them and you in their ear, like if that's your people, then tell them, yo, like this is how I feel about this. This is the history of this shit. Like the history. You're a grown man, and you still choose to say it. But I'm gonna let you know that like I don't fuck with that shit, and that shit is not cool with me. So like
so holding him accountable is just speaking up and saying this is not right.
That's it. Like I can't sit there and listen to that shit. Like if that was my homie, like hell no, that shit is not rocking.
And then what? Then it's just over. Y'all cool.
That's it.
Once you say what you say, and then he said what he said, and he got an understanding, then it's all good.
Hey, I'm only gonna tell you one time too. That's the thing. So I'm gonna tell you, but then like, okay, boom. If you do this shit moving forward, then it's like, okay, like,
All right.
all
So
right,
Joe Rogan apologized, so it's good.
nah, I didn't fuck with him from the beginning. So I
All
mean, I
right.
don't give a fuck. I wasn't gonna listen to him before or after that shit because I already felt the vibes. Like sometimes you can. I feel like that's a superpower for like black people. Sometimes like you can feel the vibe when white people just be kind of like shaky. Sometimes like you can feel the vibe, and I felt it for him. But
Nah.
I guess to wrap it up though, like I mean, I guess not to wrap it up, but like just to wrap that part of it up, like I feel like this shit was fucked up and wrong. He was a grown man. He shouldn't have been saying that shit. So I mean,
Joe Rogan, all you gotta do is donate to some type of black organization, and you good.
he gonna be good for some people. You right though. Like people would be like, damn, okay, he good. He donated to Howard in Texas A&M or like
Yeah,
what some HBCUs and shit. Like
he gave turkeys on Thanksgiving.
right, like and then niggas would be like, oh, he good now. Like, nah, I feel like it's deeper than that. I feel like it's deeper than that, and I feel like once you get in that hole, like you can't really even get out. To me, like, cause I'm already gonna look at you in that certain way until you prove me differently.
All right, Joe Rogan, you heard what we said, so let's go on to the next thing.
Yeah, man.
So the next thing I kind of heard was more recent, and it was a really wild story, and it had to do with Russia. So Russia is a very hot topic right now, and it's war.
It is.
But this thing in particular, before we get into that, was about WNBA superstar Brittney Griner, and right now she's in Russia custody for hashish vape cartridges that she tried to smuggle through the airport. Someone caught her, and apparently she's been in custody, and apparently it holds a penalty up to 5 to 10 years in Russia.
And that's the crazy part to me. 5 to 10 years for some hashish vape cartridges.
Woo!
That's crazy to me. Like
In a Russian prison, 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10. Like that's why. At least she tall as hell though. Like she could probably get down on some of them. So she probably good. She damn near 6'10" or some shit. But
Yeah, I don't want to say what I really want to say, but
damn. But
yeah, like man, Brittney Griner is she a beast for sure. But
how you feel like this gonna shake out though? You feel like they gonna like give it a max, or you feel like they? Because right now, like you said, like it's a lot of shit going on in Russia right now. So it's like they their dealings with the U.S. right now ain't really all that they need to be. So like shit, they might throw the book. How you feel like it's gonna shake out?
yeah, I believe that's probably the likeliness because I know some of you guys are probably wondering what the hell is she even doing in Russia in general. So what I was reading up and I was looking up at is that she was actually playing in the Russian basketball, women's basketball leagues because America, of course, doesn't play WNBA players that much money, and they pay more money for her out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that the case, they said that she's been doing that since 2015. She should understand the laws and the rules in that area, being it's 2022. So, I feel like more or less it's one of those things where celebrities think they can be above the law. But of course, everyone makes mistakes and things of that nature. And 5 to 10 years is excessive for something like a cartridge or something like that. That's ridiculous.
That's stupid. Unless she was like really kingpin type shit, like really bringing in pallets of the shit. Like that shit is ridiculous.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I think she's gonna sit for a little minute, especially with what's going on and the relationships. And I can imagine the embassies are not in good communication, like the U.S. embassy. With the Russian embassy and everything, communication to try to get her out or try to move her case here, maybe
Yeah.
because it just doesn't look very positive. And yeah, I mean, she could be sitting in there for a little minute for what she did. I mean, she did break their laws, and hey, like anybody else, just because her name and everything, like most likely she ain't gonna have as much time as everyone else, but hey, maybe she do need a little bit of time. And maybe she'll get to think about what she did and come back out a better person.
Man, this law shit is a scam in the first place. That's a whole deeper conversation. Like the law shit, like the fact that niggas can get locked up for a fucking vape cartridge for 5 to 10, possibly, is ridiculous. Like I feel like rules are meant to be broken. Like on some rebel type shit. I feel like rules are meant to be broken, and like for her to go over there and just do that, like she probably. I feel like what it was is she probably can't, she was just probably trying to feel herself. She's probably trying to feel something, and she really just wanted a cartridge or some shit. Like she was just like, hey, I need to smoke.
She really didn't think about it. Like I can tell. Like she just had it in her bag and
And it's also not that serious. It's literally a fucking vape. Like you can take vapes on planes here. Like the same vapes that she about to get locked up for, or she's already locked up for, you could take it on a plane here, from city to
yeah,
city. So I mean, like you said, she been there for a minute, and she should probably know the laws. But
mistakes happen. So
yeah,
that's a very bad mistake, especially with what's going on right now. And yeah, you can't be making mistakes like that. You gotta smarten up.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't feel like yeah, it's a mistake, but like, did she even know? Like, yeah, she should know the laws, but like, maybe she didn't even know that shit. Like, that's how I'm feeling, because I'm like, who would know that? Like,
Maybe she should have tried to slip the guard a cool 100 stacks to be quiet.
shit, she might not have had it if they weren't paying her in the WNBA. But nah, yeah, and like you said, like shit is shaky in Russia right now, and a lot of people getting locked up. So
Yeah, and the story was that she's been in there and like it took weeks to even hear about like this story to break. So she's been in there since like February, the beginning of February.
crazy.
So man,
Yeah, man.
I really do pray for her and her family that wants her back home for sure. And yeah, like seeing you out there in that basketball court, you a beast out there from the stats and when I look up. But even though I haven't really watched the game, but in any WNBA games,
Nigga, you don't know. Nigga said she probably is balling out, 'cause I think she, don't quote me, but I feel like she the tallest NBA or WNBA player,
yeah, she was balling out here, so I know for sure she balling in Russia.
killing them. But yeah, I know she probably got, like, she got a family. I think she just got married like a couple years ago, so she got a wife and shit. So yeah, free
Mhm.
BG, man. Free
Yeah.
BG, bring her ass back over here, man. But yeah, man.
So you trying to lead that into the next topic? You already know what it is.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of shit going on, man. A whole lot of shit going on over there in Europe right now. The crazy thing is, let's preface it with this though. Like, a lot of shit happens a lot of places. Like, I just read an article yesterday, and there was a bombing at a mosque, or at some type of religious building, and it killed at least 50 plus people. Then that was just yesterday. So shit going on all around the world, and but sometimes the news just
You
kind of
said a what?
focuses. It was a bombing,
At a mosque?
yeah, at a mosque that killed 56 people. So, or 50 plus. I don't know how many, but
For people who don't know what a mosque is, what is a mosque?
y'all niggas better know what a mosque is. But it's like a church. Like, black people go to church, um, and then Muslim people go to mosques and shit like that. But so it's like a religious gathering place. But yeah, so it was, some shit.
So y'all understand. That's what it is.
Y'all got Google too though. But yeah, man. Yeah, so like I said, shit going on everywhere, like in the world. But just to get into this Russia Ukraine shit, like, when you first, because this news been kind of, it's kind of been building up for the last couple of weeks though. So like, did you expect it to get to where it is right now?
When I first heard the story and everything, I was expecting it, especially with the news of Putin putting 100,000 soldiers around the border of Ukraine.
Right. Yeah.
And then he was just saying, oh, it was just for security reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when I hear stuff like that, it's like, you don't need 100,000 soldiers for security reasons of Ukraine when you're Russia and you're a military powerhouse like that. That story does not make sense. And I think everybody understood that it was any day now that things were going to turn left and he was gonna try to twist any type of information from Ukraine or try to turn anything to war.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't listening to what other countries were saying or anything like that, and he has his own type of mission.
Yeah, and so what he had said originally, like you said, like he was like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to keep the peace," and he was saying that there's people over there that we need that want to come over to Russia that we need to secure, and we want to secure the areas that Russian people are in Ukraine and stuff like that. And a lot of the soldiers were believing that, like a lot of soldiers bought into like the idea that this mission is not to go and ravage the country. Like they thought they was really going in just to like secure some shit, but obviously, I mean, they've been bombing. They just bombed the nuclear plant. They've been killing civilians and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
like,
taking over cities, made the major Ukraine cities and capital. Well, they fighting for it.
yeah. They still trying to get Kiev right now. They're trying to get the Ukrainian president up out of here, Zelensky. They're trying to get him out of here. They've been trying to assassinate him. So
Yeah, I saw the Ukraine president was actually an actor before.
yeah, that's the crazy thing, because he what he did was, like you said, he's an actor, but he played the president on like I don't know if it was a TV show or a movie, but he played it before he became the leader of Ukraine. So that's just kind of like a full circle moment. But yeah, them motherfuckers over there is, man, they holding their ground though, or they trying the best they can right now.
And I just don't think that Ukraine is his end goal. And when I was looking at the news recently, he did put out some warnings and things like that of that nature for Finland and Sweden.
Hmm.
So countries got to be on high alert out there around Russia, because at the end of the day, Russia controls the radios and the media, the communication, and they're building up the narrative in their own country. It's not the U.S. Democracy is it's not free speech as much as it is here. So that's the real scary thing, because people there are seeing and they're believing what's told to them, and they don't know any of the real facts or the details from other people's side. And you got to hear both sides to get to come to a conclusion yourself, in my opinion.
Absolutely, man. But I feel like we're not too like, yeah, we have free speech, but I feel like if you look at mainstream media here, it's kind of the same. Like we don't we kind of restrict things sometimes too. Like we don't tell the full story. It's kind of framed in a certain way. But I feel like what they doing over
Yeah,
there is probably like some wild shit, like telling people, "Oh, everything's good, everything's good." Like I know they was they was shutting down internet and just blocking, like Western media companies and stuff over there in
yeah,
Russia. So it's wild. Like at least we can go look and see what Zelensky is saying. I don't think people in Russia can do that right now.
yeah. Russia just passed a bill just recently saying that the media outlets and everything like that goes against their views, it's punishable for prison time. So they'll go to jail like for years if they're speaking out against Russia's needs or what they're trying to aim for against Russia. That's a crime. So
Yeah, that go back to what I was saying. This shit is stupid. Like y'all just making up shit. Like they just making shit up to just hold people down basically. But I think
yeah,
you brought up a good point, or like a good like talking point. Like what is the end game? Like shit done happened already. He already kind of kicked the shit off. But like where does it end? Like how do you see this ending?
he's trying to bring back the Soviet Union.
You think so?
Putin, like recently with all the sanctions that all these countries and media that's been negative upon Russia. I mean, only one who I think is not negative towards Russia or just being very neutral is China.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, their leads are shaking each other's hand, and they kind of have like a similar dictatorship thing going on in both countries. So I feel like China. And I was reading something where a guy in China, he was stating we might as well pretty much. I'm paraphrasing, but we might as well go for Russia and stick up for Russia, because if U.S. Wins the media side of that, who you think they're coming after next? It's going to be China, and how our government is ran. And we all know that the US is very popular with democracy and they want democracy to be all over and have control in that type of sense. So, yeah, I mean, US goes after anyone who kind of or is against democracy. I mean, and that's kind of how our media is portrayed. Like, we treat anyone who's not democracy as a villain.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, like you said, they in cahoots now. Like they signed an agreement to, kind of have a partnership. And I feel like the reason why, because they signed it like maybe a month or two ago. And I feel like the reason why is exactly why what's happening right now. So Russia wants Ukraine, China wants Taiwan, and
Yeah. And Russia has big oil lines too. So the US hasn't completely um, got out of those type of dealings with Russia just yet.
mhm.
But I did read something that we were trying to look for other alternatives to Russia oil, but it would just create economic issues if we was just to pull out completely out of Russia in terms of like oil and gas prices and things. And prices are already increasing.
Yeah, man. But I did hear that we only get less than 10% of our oil from Russia. So like, yeah, it makes a difference if we trying to go get it from somewhere else. But we only get less than 10%. We have other people that are like
Hmm.
we getting billions of barrels. Like I can't remember the country specifically, but we get billions of barrels from like other countries other than them. So
Probably the Middle East.
yeah, it was like I don't know why I want to say Canada, but I might be wrong on that. But yeah, like and that's the thing, like the financial, like I feel like the war gonna turn into like some financial shit because like
That's always a part of it.
yeah, but it's I feel like even more now because I feel like even money right now in 2022 is just like so much more important than it was during World War II.
Yeah.
And it's so much more of a circulating. So it's like so many more billionaires. You know what I mean? So like I feel like a lot more the financial impact is what's really important. Like, yeah, people gonna lose their lives, but what's gonna happen to the money that, these people getting?
Yeah. And recently, Putin is claiming these sanctions that the US and all these different countries and NATO that they're putting on them is a declaration of war pretty much.
Right.
Like he's Putin's getting serious and he's been saying he's getting his nukes and nuclear things ready.
Man.
And I feel like people got to be very careful and be on the defensive because this guy is, in my opinion, just insane. And he doesn't stop until he reaches what he wants. This is a guy who's pretty much called him like made himself the president for life in Russia.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy's just different.
But yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, where does it stop though? Like, this shit not going. I don't see this ending well. Like, it already has started bad, but like, I don't see this ending well at all. Um,
I mean, on a lighter note though,
yeah,
I was reading this article about a Ukrainian worker. He worked for this rich billionaire, and he worked on his yacht.
yeah,
So this guy pretty much tries to sink this Russian billionaire's boat,
yeah,
and then he was not sorry at all. They took him in, and then pretty much he ran away back to Ukraine, his home country, and said he's gonna fight. Like once they let him go.
yeah. I heard about that, man. That's the thing. Like, sometimes you got to hit people in their pockets. Like, that man got billions. The person that owns the yacht. So it's like,
He got insurance.
yeah, he got insurance, and plus the yacht was like,
He gonna get more.
what was it, like 500 million dollar yacht or something like that. So
It was something ridiculous.
yeah, he was just trying to hit them people in their pockets, and I feel like more power to him. He might get prosecuted for it, but man, I salute that man because I feel like if you can't, you know, you got to fight back in some way, and Ukrainians are fighting back right now.
Yeah, I believe that. That's for sure. So that's the stories right there. The crazy things that happened in this week in that segment there. Want you guys to like and subscribe to the podcast. On Instagram, it's at the Friends Pop. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. We're streaming everywhere. So that's Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube now. So that's new. Go check out the YouTube, get our views up, and subscribe to the channel there. We also on Amazon, Google. So check us out, and we'll have our link to all those websites, our link tree link to everywhere. So check us out, subscribe.
Yeah,
And
man. Go ahead.
all right, so I was gonna lead into the next segment here, and pretty much we're gonna have go into discussion, and just I wanted to kind of think about this for a little bit, because this is
Yeah,
a very broad question, so it can go into a lot of different avenues, and you may be like, oh, what you mean by that? So the question is life fair?
is life fair? I mean, shit, man. I don't know. Like you said, that's a very broad question to even try to answer because I feel like life is ups and downs. So I feel like you could feel like it's fair when you up, but then when you down, you could feel like it's not fair. So I don't even know how to answer that question for real. Like that's kind of tough. Like, do you have any like thoughts?
And all because like what we just talked about with countries and everything like that. You can be born in this country where there's no democracy and not many opportunities, and what some people call is underdeveloped country. But or you could be born in the U.S. where apparently it's the land of opportunity and everyone can come up, but majority of the world is lower class in the U.S. So I feel like it's an interesting question there.
But then think about this though, like somebody that's in a quote unquote underdeveloped country, like do they know that? Like they don't they might not even know what life could even be for real. So like they might really be content with life. Like they might think life is fair. So I don't know. That I feel like it's a subjective question because I feel like
Yeah,
it's so many things that can go into it.
they could be waking up every morning and looking at the ocean and the water and the island, and everyone's smiling, and they have their family, their friends are there, and just be content and be happy. They're not thinking about the grind of. I feel like how USA is, we're a capitalistic society, so everything's about a dollar. Everything's about trying to come up, and we don't mind stepping on other people's toes to get where we're going.
Yeah, that's how people get rich for real.
So other countries and people there, they're not so much thinking about that. It's like we're a very like hungry society, and when I kind of get into that, like people always say, "Oh, Americans, they overindulge
Yeah,
into everything, like food, opportunity, money, like
houses, cars.
yeah, everything. We just overdo it, and it's way more than our needs, and it's not really necessary, and especially in our lifetime and things of that nature."
Right. And I feel like and that's the thing. Like I feel like you have to know what life can be to know. Nah, you don't have to know what life can be, but I feel like if you know what life can be, then I feel like you can answer this. Then your answer is kind of tough because it's like, damn, we see, and especially with social media too, you see people living extravagant lives, and if you're not living that extravagant life, you're like, damn, my
Yeah,
life is not fair.
like that's the thing. Social media is confusing.
Yeah, and that's why I try to stray away from that shit because you never know what's the truth. You never know what's a lie. So yeah, I don't know, man. Is life fair, man? Like, do you? So what's your answer? Like, if you had to put an answer on it, what would you say?
I don't think there necessarily is an answer, and that's what we're kind of leading to. Depending on the circumstances, like some people can just be like, I feel like the point of life is to be happy,
Hmm.
and everyone aims to get to that point where they're happy and content with what they got going on, and the people in their circle is happy and content with what they got going on. So I feel like more or less people try to create this bubble or this circle, and if everyone's doing good, everybody's looking good, then they're happy, and people around them are happy and things like that. For the most part, everyone has like where times where they feel bad or sad or depressed or things of that nature. But if everyone is happy with what's going on in their circle, it looks different pretty much to every person. So
Right.
people have their own standards and the way of life they want to do things. And that's why I was kind of bringing in the point of different countries and their idea of happiness. It's definitely probably not what we think our idea of happiness is.
Right. Cause they don't see all these Mercedes and Lamborghinis, all these damn mansions and
Even if
all
they
that shit.
do, they it's not a big deal to them, and that's not what's important to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cause yeah, I feel like the reason why it's important to a lot of people, cause we see it all the time, and people we told that that's a status symbol. You know, like you, in order to be this, you gotta have that. Like I guess we're kind of told that in America.
It's brainwashing.
Yeah, and if you buy into it, then it's just kind of like that is you buy into it, and it's kind of hard not to buy into it when you're on TikTok all day or you on Facebook all day. You know what I mean? So
You think that's the purposely, like, social media and everything was something that was purposely brought into America and people's lives and things in their daily lives so much that it's pretty much just brainwashing to believe that we gotta have this, we gotta have this. Because people back in the day when we didn't have social media and everything like that,
hmm
they were completely cool with going to the factory, getting their check, coming back to their wife and kids, and people were happy.
were they?
It wasn't so much, were they?
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't know if they were or not.
I believe so.
I don't know. We got to get an old nigga on here so we can ask him like how shit was back in the day. But I don't know. I feel like yeah,
And they
he
might have
could.
a different opinion because of today how everything looks and back then.
Yeah.
Because they've lived through that generation, that era, and they also see this generation, this era. So they have both point of views.
I mean, we kind of lived before social media a little bit, like like in our. I feel like we
I
lived
don't think
before in our
so.
teens. In our teens, yeah. Like I did. I ain't get on social.
MySpace was there and all that, and
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. But I feel like MySpace. So let me try to answer your question. Like, is that the point of social media? Like, was it created for that? Like, I don't. I feel like
for brainwashing.
for brainwashing. Like, I don't. MySpace. I feel like wasn't that. Like, I feel like MySpace was. It was fun when I was a kid. Like, you can make your own. Get your HTML game up and then make your own background. You can put songs on your shit. Get your top 8. Post statuses and shit. Like post pictures and shit. I feel like back
Yeah,
then, like it wasn't no brainwashing type of shit. But maybe that's just because I was following other people my age. That was kids too. So like we don't even know what the fuck brainwashing is back then. So I don't know.
yeah. Low
I, f-
key, everybody was like a computer scientist and a programmer back then. The way they was
I
doing
s-
their pages.
I swear, man, I really wish I still had them skills though, because what I'm saying, we're trying to build this website for the pod and shit like that. But I don't know. But I feel like social media definitely transformed into something that could brainwash somebody if they weak minded. You know,
I feel like everyone is now the way the notifications and everything. And I was
yeah.
reading something that they set it up like a casino, like the sound and the notification, your phone screen coming on. All that is pretty much mentally you want to keep being and like clicking on it and clicking and going through. It's like,
It's a dopamine hit.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Now I learned that a long time ago. That's why I don't have notifications on my phone. I be having my phone on do not disturb. Like I learned that a long time ago for my peace and sanity. I cannot keep receiving notifications from all 100 apps I got on my phone. Like that shit is because it get to you. Like, you know what I mean? Because you be like, damn, I'm waiting for a text.
absolutely.
I'm waiting for a call. So it's like
And that's damaging to kids for sure because there's already laws and people speaking out to Apple about things of that nature. It's like their kids are addicted to their phone. They don't want to pay attention to anything and they're not learning. They're not picking up things in the classrooms and stuff like that because they're so addicted to the phone.
But who is that on the Apple or is that on the parent for giving them the phone and letting them have free reign?
I feel like it has a lot to do with Apple. I mean, they gotta go back on their practices little bit and think more about a kid because a kid's gonna try to do pretty much whatever they want to do. They're gonna even like your parent could tell you to do something, but everyone's done things that their parent didn't want them to do. Like you're gonna do what like kids gonna do what they really want to do.
No, but a child can't buy no iPhone. A parent can only do that and give them an iPhone and let them have it all day. Like,
They're gonna find some other way. Like back in school, is like kids would just find ways to get on websites and stuff like that on a computer. Any type of computer to get it wasn't we back then like in when we were in high school and stuff like that. It was a freaking flip phone and block phones and stuff like that. But everyone still found a way to get to that social media.
get on AOL or whatever the fuck we was on. Yeah, that's true. Cause I definitely used to go to the library to get on MySpace, like when I was in middle school for sure, and on YouTube. I was on YouTube early, but yeah, that's an interesting conversation though. I feel like social media definitely is that now. It's just kind of like you either this or you that. This is what's good. This is what's hot. This is what makes you, you know, this is what makes you of a high social status. This is what makes you of a low social status, and then people try to follow that, keep up with the Joneses, and it's like, damn, like now what? Like I feel like, do you feel like this shit can be undone though? Like, is there any way to go back in time?
I think that just starts with like responsibility. It's not just what we're saying pretty much the companies, but also has to do what you were saying like the parents. It's both. We gotta install rules and regulations and be more mindful of the things that we're trying to download. And, I mean that's important and everything. So I mean that was a very important and cool topic that we got there. So let's go ahead and hit into this next topic that we got.
Hey man, what's going on? This is Matt checking in for the one time, man. Just letting y'all know this is part one of Planet of the Apes, man. So check part two out. This is part one. So part two is gonna be dropping real soon for y'all, man. So definitely make sure y'all check that out. As we always say, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff, man. And make sure you interact with us, man. You know, we trying to build up the following and listenership and all that cool stuff. So we out.